is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM and FM. Jacksonville Beach. 1010XL. Home sweet home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You know, I do feel like the team is coming together a little bit better. Keep building and build off of last week.
Came out with energy. I think that was the biggest thing, was we found a little bit of energy that now we have to make it a snowball effect.
They handed a Tank toward the goal line. Touchdown, a 1-yard touchdown run by Tank Bigsby, and the Jags have taken the lead.
And we want to maximize Brian's speed down the field as well as much as we can. And
fires toward the goal line. Ultimately caught for the touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. for the score.
I feel like we do have a lot of momentum, and we just got the things that got us here. Obviously, it hasn't always been perfect, but I really do feel like we've trusted, the coaches, the players, our teammates around us, and, we have found some success here lately, and we just have to do it again this Sunday.
It's a 1 week at a time mentality, as you know, and you just try to go 1-0. You just try to figure out how to win a game this week. There's a lot of ball ahead of us. Each week now becomes a little bit more important, for us as a team.
Game day is underway. This is the Terminix Kickoff Show on 1010XL. Live from Tailgaters Parking. Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade Fast Twitch. Here are your hosts, Hayes Carline and Mia O'Brien.
Kevin Rudolph, Lil Wayne, Mia O'Brien, Hayes Carline. Let it rock, Mr. Carline. After a 2-week hiatus, we are back on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade, and we are back on site. Tailgaters Parking, Growlers Bar and Grill, as we are each and every home game for your Jacksonville Jaguars, who return home today to face the Green Bay Packers in a 1 o'clock tilt at Everbank Stadium. Hayes, how are we doing on this fine Sunday?
What a wonderful morning.
I know.
I mean, there's a little hint of fall in the air.
I've got my autumnal colors on,
yes.
I've been told. I'm
you're
trying
ready
to manifest
absolutely.
The autumnal vibes, which
yes.
It was 60-some-odd degrees when I got in my car this morning, expected to approach about 85 degrees near kickoff at 1 o'clock here today. We love it in Florida because no humidity, the sun is shining, and those cheeseheads from up north, I'm not so sure they can handle that 85-degree temperature.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of them today. But this is, in terms of gigantic games, this isn't a 10 out of 10 regular season game for the Jaguars, but I think it's a strong 8. You've got an opportunity today to change your fortunes, to make a statement to the NFL that the Jaguars aren't quite dead yet, and get a win over a team that I think, most, if you look at the power rankings, the Green Bay Packers are going to be, well inside that top 10. They've won 3 straight games. They've got, obviously, a brilliant offensive mind and Matt LaFleur running things. Jordan Love's coming on. Really versatile group of receivers, tight ends, and a very opportunistic defense that leads the league in takeaways. So massive challenge today, but if the Jaguars can beat Green Bay, a lot of that week 1, week 2, those setbacks, they're going to be a little bit further in the rearview mirror.
Packers enter this game at 5-2, coming off of a dramatic walk-off win, 24-22 over the Jaguars' AFC South rivals, the Houston Texans. Meanwhile, the Big Cats coming off of a victory of their own as they doubled up the New England Patriots, 32-16. We're going to get into all of this throughout the duration of today's program, Hayes, but I do want to start with this. I've heard from more than one person up there in Wisconsin that they view this game as a potential trap game for the Green Bay Packers. We will dive into that and a whole lot more, but before we truly look at today's matchup, let's take one last look at the Jaguars' victory over the Patriots.
Trevor drops, looking, fires toward the goal line, and ultimately caught for the touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. for the score.
I don't think we can start previewing today's matchup, Hayes, without beginning with number 16, the quarterback for your Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. Statistically speaking, he's been the 3rd most efficient quarterback over the last 3 weeks, trailing which we'll put a little asterisk on this, trailing Jared Goff, who literally goes off the charts according to Pro Football Focus over the last few weeks, has thrown more touchdowns than he has incompletions, has the Detroit Lions quarterback. And Caleb Williams, the asterisk on the Chicago Bears quarterback, because, of course, in the last 3 weeks, he had the lucky opportunity to face a Jaguars defense, which has been questionable at times. But my point is, Trevor Lawrence has been operating at peak efficiency after struggling through the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, without a doubt, Trevor is really starting to find his game, and that's a great thing. Today's challenge is a little bit more tricky. The Packers, this is where Trevor's instincts and the development of those instincts is going to be really at the forefront of this matchup, because Trevor's certainly playing at a higher level, but Green Bay is going to do things defensively today that I think are going to try to take him a little bit off of what he's comfortable doing, and it's going to be up to him to rise above that challenge. Green Bay obviously comes into the game with 17 takeaways, so defensively, they're going to be ready. I mean, that certainly is something that permeates throughout a defense when you start getting those takeaways in such large volumes. And look, we know the criticisms. A lot of people in this league don't believe Trevor sees the field well, that he doesn't go through his reads well. So Green Bay is going to have something for him. He is going to have to rise above that. But again, he certainly has the weapons. And looking in Brian Thomas's direction to start every pass play would be a good way to start the play with the way that young man is playing.
If we're going to put an asterisk on Caleb Williams, I will put an asterisk, I guess, on this stat line from Trevor Lawrence last week, going up against a Patriots defense, a Patriots team that has struggled so mightily through 7 games in 2024. Trevor Lawrence, 15 of 20 for $193, 1 passing touchdown. That was for an average per attempt, though, Hayes, of average per completion of 9.7 yards per completion, which obviously a much more significant number than we saw earlier in the season from the quarterback as well as the Jaguars offense. And the aforementioned Brian Thomas Jr. with 5 catches for 89 yards, including 1 touchdown to pace the Jaguars. Most importantly, though, for me, 5 catches on 5 targets. The week prior in London, drops once again plagued this football team, as they have not only during this season, but throughout Trevor Lawrence's 4-year career.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, there certainly should be the opportunity there today for the Jaguars. The Green Bay, obviously, you have to honor Tank Bigsby and what he has started to emerge as a young playmaker in this league. So the Jaguars certainly should be balanced in what they want to do. Everything should be there. So Trevor should have some advantageous looks. And again, with Ingram, Kirk, Thomas, Davis, you'd like to think that the opportunities will be there, but will Trevor see it? That's my concern. And certainly he needs to be accurate as well when those opportunities are there. But my fear today is that from the mental aspect of this, it could be a tough putt for Trevor Lawrence and going up against that Green Bay defense. But you look at it, and if the Jaguars can win the turnover battle, then they'll take a big step forward. Green Bay's been outstanding this year. They're +6. The Jaguars are -4. So that would tell you that the Packers are probably going to win the turnover battle today. And if they do that, it's going to be awfully difficult for the Jaguars, because I just don't think, Mia, defensively, the Jaguars are going to offer up much resistance. Even getting some key pieces back, I still think Green Bay is going to have a high number today.
Just 1 interception on the season so far for your Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll get to the defense here in a second. Let's stay on the offense because, of course, the Jaguars offense, as you alluded to, Hayes, is more than just Trevor Lawrence.
They'll run it with Bigsby again to the middle of the field, lowers his shoulder, into the end zone, touchdown. And that's the icing on the cake here in London. Tank Bigsby for the score.
As you get in your car and you start heading down here to the stadium complex, Tailgaters Park and Growlers Bar and Grill, where we are coming at you live from, you may have seen the tweet from Ian Rappaport early this morning from the NFL Network that Travis Etienne, questionable today with a hamstring injury, a long shot to play, according to sources of Rappaport's. That means, his words, not mine, another week of Tank Bigsby, who has now gone over the century mark, Hayes, in 2 of the Jaguars' last 3 games.
Yeah, his confidence is at an all-time high, as it should be. And, he's obviously physically, he's an imposing runner. And now that you're starting to see Tank really have full confidence that he can play at a high level and do it consistently in this league, it's really exciting to see. And obviously with 415 yards on the ground, a 6.2 yard average. That average has come down a little bit because you knew it had to. He was so far out ahead of everybody else.
With so few attempts, too.
Exactly.
I mean, the Jaguars at one point during the first 5 weeks of the season had the fewest rushing attempts of anyone, yet Bigsby led the league in yards per carry.
Yeah, and so he's really flourishing, and it'll start there, I'm sure, for the Jaguars. Again, you want to take that pressure off of Trevor Lawrence, particularly going up against a defense that's been as opportunistic as Green Bay has. So I would think Bigsby has an excellent chance today to have 15, 20 touches and the opportunity to go over 100 yards again.
And I think that it's so critical that he does see 15 to 20 touches, Hayes, because as he told me in the locker room earlier this week, and you'll hear it a little bit later on the Terminix Kickoff show, he needs to get lathered up in order to find a rhythm. He certainly got lathered up last week when he was part of a Jaguars drive that saw them over the course of 2 drives, as a matter of fact, run the ball 17 straight times. I asked Doug Pederson earlier this week, how does that happen? How do you stay disciplined and commit to the run like they did against the Patriots?
I don't know if it's much of a conversation as it is just what we're seeing. You're seeing 4 yards, 6 yards, 12 yards, 15 yards, a run. There's not a lot of conversation that needs to take place. You know what I'm saying? And you're feeling the excitement of the offense on the field. Quite frankly, there is no dialogue in those moments. It's just kind of what you're seeing in game.
Certainly unorthodox, though, for an offense that over Doug Pederson's 2+ years here in Jacksonville has said that, yes, they run to win, they pass to score, and 9 times out of 10, this is a pass-first offense, not a run-first offense. But the conversation has been had in town over the last few days and weeks, Hayes, that maybe that is what they need to lean into if they are to turn this season around. Yeah,
and without a doubt. And, again, I'm not taking much out of Sunday's win at Wembley. It was great that they got it, obviously. But New England is atrocious. I mean, they are
again, the
easily one of the worst 2 teams in the NFL. It's New England and Carolina, and then I think there's a gap to the rest of the 30 in terms of how dreadful they are. So, it was good that the Jaguars were able to show that they can do that they can be that dedicated to it. It's going to take – they're not going to be able to hide passing game. Not that they were doing that. I think they just had a lead and wanted to get out of there and assert their dominance. But yeah, they certainly – they can do both, which is great. Trevor's going to have to play well today. As good as Tank is and as much momentum as the running game has, and, the offensive line looks like they're starting to gel and find their groove, which is great. The Jaguars are going to have to find – passing success today. I think when you look at Green Bay, you have to expect, if you're Doug Pederson, I'm going to need to score 34 to win today, based on how poorly my defense has played, based on the success Green Bay has had offensively. So can you get to that number being so dominant, on the ground, or so dominant in your play calling on the ground? So I would expect a mix. I think it should be a really fun game. Should be a lot of points on both sides. But I think Doug's got to look at it as, I don't know how often I'm going to stop these guys. So yes, the run game can slow it down and limit Green Bay's possessions. But I think you could easily look up and be down 14-0, and then where is your run game? Are you going to be able to stick with it? So there's a lot of challenges in this game, I would say, for Doug Pederson in terms of how this game will play out from a pace and the score dictating things. Because, again, Mia, I'm just worried, will this Jaguar defense be able to put up much resistance against a Green Bay offense and play calling system that I think is about as good as there is in the NFL.
Does the head coach think this game today will be a shootout, as he does each and every week on Fridays? He joined the Frangie Show, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Here is Doug Pederson.
The coach speaks. Jaguars coach Doug Pederson joins Frank Frangie right now. Presented by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
All right, welcome back to the program. Let's talk football with the head coach. Doug Pederson joins us now, along with Frank Frangie on 1010XL. Doug, how are you, man?
Frank, doing well, man. Appreciate you having me again.
Hey, we're all glad to get home. It was a long trip over there, but you and I talked about this earlier in the week. I sense that your team gets galvanized a bit when they're together over there. Is that a good read? It sure seems that way the last few years and even this year.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think the 10 days that we're there. I mean, listen, we don't have to get in our cars and drive home, or we don't. You hate to say it, but you don't have all the family distractions or little kids running around or whatever it might be. I don't know, but we're all in the same hotel. We're all at the same practice, eating in the same meal room and the whole thing. I mean, I just think it's something to the guys hanging together for the 10 days, and we tend to play better, and then ultimately bring that back with us. So looking forward to the game and seeing if that's the case.
You've also found a little something, and you've talked about this, and so it's press all along, that you have to have balance and you've got to be able to run it, and that makes your pass game more efficient. It sure feels like that's kind of where you are now. 16 runs in a row at one point during the game, and I know that's where you wanted to get this thing. Do you feel better about your line, your running game, all of that?
You know what, Frank, I really do. I think the offensive line is playing really good football right now. It's something, we're going to be tested on Sunday. This is a good Packer unit coming in here, but if you have the ability to run the football in this league, it just opens up your passing game, and it makes your quarterback, more efficient. You don't have to necessarily throw the ball down the field or throw it, 30 plus times a game. I think you can keep it. You can keep it under 30 attempts and still have the success as an offense. So yeah, the run game, the offensive line, all of that has been good, and we got to keep that going.
You told me something neat about Tank Bigsby yesterday, that what a hard worker he is and what a good kid he is and how he comes to work every day. How do you feel about how he's playing? Because it certainly seems like he's found a little something too, Doug.
Yeah, everything that I saw on film, even back at Auburn, this guy was a downhill, kind of a one-cut player, and he plays physical. He plays behind his pads, and that's what you're beginning to see. And I think the other thing you're seeing too is the patience that he has in the run game. I think a year ago, he was really quick to try to bounce things to the outside, and this year you're seeing him stay patient with the hole, letting the offensive line, work their combos, cutting in behind those B blocks and those A blocks and different things, and just maturing as a young running back, and that's really good to see.
The other part of the offense that everyone's talking about, I'm remiss if I don't ask, is every time we play a game, Brian Thomas Jr. gets behind somebody. It's pretty amazing. In this league where there's so many good defensive backs, he always gets behind somebody. What has made him such a special player? Obviously the speed is real, but gosh, he's a good player, Doug.
You know what? It's the way he approaches the week of practice, quite honestly. We just don't dial those things up on Sunday. We work on those things during the week, and Brian goes full speed in practice, and that's really the only way to really effectively throw the ball down the field is you got to do it in practice during the week, and that's what he does, and he sacrifices himself to do that and work hard during the week, and it's paying off for him on Sundays, and I think it's a lot. I mean, I know he's not Tyreek Hill and he doesn't have that kind of speed, but it's hard to simulate that during the week of practice. It's hard for your defense to say, hey, we're playing Tyreek Hill, get ready for the speed, because on game day, that dude's coming at you fast, and I think that's what's happening with Brian is, the guys that he's playing against don't realize just how sneaky fast he is, and it's paying off for him.
Yeah, boy, we're seeing that. Let's talk about health a little bit. You were able to open the practice windows for Foye Oluokun and Andrew Wingard. Any thought on where they are, a chance they'll play? Where are we with those two guys?
Yeah, both guys, like you said, open their windows, which means basically you got 21 days now to make a decision, right? You got to bring them back to the 53 or they stay on IR, and both guys practice this week. I think Foyer's a little bit further along with his injury. If everything goes to plan, we should have him in the lineup Sunday, elevated and back on the 53, and I think Dewey's going to be another week. I think it was a good week for him to get out there and practice and run around and kind of feel the injury a little bit, and I think in Dewey's case too, just give him confidence that he can go out there and perform at a high level. But I would anticipate Foye playing and starting this weekend, and then Dewey possibly getting him back next week.
Two other guys, Doug, Travis Etienne and Cam Robinson. Travis obviously been nursing the shoulder. Cam had the concussion. I know he's out of protocol. Any thoughts on those two guys, or is that more of a game day thing?
Yeah, Cam is in a better position. Obviously, he passed the protocol. We got one more hurdle with him, and that's tomorrow. We actually get to kind of bang him around and make sure that there's no setbacks there, and then he'll be cleared for the game that way. But he has gone through all the steps, and medically, he's cleared. Like I said, we just got that one more step to do tomorrow. Etienne is still kind of nursing, the hamstring that he pulled. And I shouldn't say pull. He kind of tweaked it 2 weeks ago. I don't think we're going to have him for this game, give him one more week to rest. He did practice a little bit this week, which is good, and yet he just can't open up 100% yet, so probably get him back next week as well.
Yeah, that's right. I said the shoulder. The hamstring's the most recent.
Yeah, it was the hamstring that he tweaked.
Final thing, tell me about the Packers. Doug, what do you see when you watch them on tape?
It's a group that on defense you're seeing them fly around. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They're creating takeaways. They're number one in the NFL in takeaways, and so we got to be smart with the football. But they're flying around. It's it's an aggressive group, and rightfully so. They're 5-2, and they're playing good. And I think offensively, having Jordan Love back, kind of settles the offense down a little bit. He's playing good from the pocket. Probably not moving and running as much, since the knee injury, but he has the ability to stretch the field, and he's not afraid to try to stick it in windows either. I mean, he's aggressive throwing the football, and they've had success doing that. So it's a good team playing with a lot of confidence, and we get them down here in our stadium, and looking forward to that game.
Yeah, me too. The Jags have found a little something too. Chance to win 2 in a row in 3 of their last 4. So Doug, your team's playing well as well. It's going to be a fun one on Sunday. Doug Pederson checking in. Good luck on Sunday. I'll see you then, Doug. We appreciate it, buddy.
All right, thank you, Frank. See you Sunday.
All right, Jags and Packers coming up on Sunday afternoon.
So not only does the NFL Network believe Travis Etienne a long shot to play today, according to their sources, you heard it from the head coach himself, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Travis Etienne not expected to be available today as he works his way back from that hamstring injury. Let's catch up with the voice of your Jacksonville Jaguars. You just heard from him there. Let's speak to him a little bit more. Frank Frangie joins us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline on the other side, right here on the Terminix Kickoff Show on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Here in North Florida, you know that when temperatures go up and your AC goes out, you need help now. Like right now. Like lickety-split. So why not call Lickety Split and get same-day emergency service for your AC? Now, I bet you've seen their trucks all over town because they've got dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical too. So when you want it done right and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split AC Plumbing and Electric.
Being an athlete means having a healthy desire to do as much as you can with your body. For as long as you can. Gatorade has lower sugar, electrolyte-backed hydration options to keep you rehydrated and replenished. Gatorade, for every athlete.
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
Your car is like part of your family. It takes you to work, drops the kids off at school, goes with you on vacation. You feel safe in your car, but all that can change in an instant due to someone else's carelessness. Now you need money for medical bills, car repairs, lost wages. You need help, and you need it now. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Jacksonville.
Go inside the huddle with our QB, David Garrard.
Hey, I know if you give me time, baby, We can do whatever we want.
And get into the head of an NFL signal caller. Mondays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Brought to you by WaterboyJacks.com on 1010XL.
After a storm passes, the assessment of the aftermath begins. Sometimes damage to the roof is obvious, like leaks or missing shingles, broken or damaged gutters, or tree debris. But storm damage is not always as clearly present. Universal Roofing Contracting is here to help and will come assess your roof for any hidden damage. Call Universal Roof to schedule your free roof inspection at 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals. Dine in with beer and wine and delivery at salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Do it with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
You just heard his interview with the head coach, Doug Pederson, from Friday. Now let's catch up on the Garber Auto Mall hotline with none other than Frank Frangie, the voice of your Jacksonville Jaguars, on a beautiful Sunday here in Duval County. Frank, how are you, my friend?
Good morning, Mia, and to you and Hayes. And it is beautiful. I've already been out a little bit today. What a gorgeous day. We've had that rain and dreary this, dreary that. What a gorgeous day for football today. I think we're all excited about it.
I think that's been the sentiment everywhere we've gone here so far on the site of Tailgaters Parking and Growlers Bar and Grill. Our friend Chad Mays said it to us. It feels like we've been stuck in this rainy, dreary, maybe it's just the record of the football team vibe over the last 6-7 weeks, Frank, but maybe this sunshine is just what the doctor ordered as the Jags hope to shock the world. Do you believe there is a path for that to happen here today in Jacksonville?
Yeah, and I don't think winning today is shocking the world. I think the Jags are going to win today. I said that on our show with Hayes on Friday. I think the Jags have found a little something. I think what Doug and I talked about, the whole solidarity or how they kind of get galvanized when they're together. I think there's something to that. 2 years ago, Mia, they went 8-2 after they came back from London. Last year, they went 6-1 right after that trip. I've been around these guys. I think there's a little something there. So I think they're going to play well. Look, the Packers are good. You guys have been making that point. You're dead on. The Packers have a good team. But I'd be surprised if the Jags don't play very well today. I really would.
Frank, what do you think will be the key to a Jaguars victory today?
I do think, as always, they've got to have balance. I think that's who they've become. You know, every team, Hayes, is different. And even if you have the same players mostly, every team's personality from year to year is a little bit different. I think the way this team plays, the way this offensive line plays, the fact that you now have a downhill runner, and you guys just heard Doug tell you that in all likelihood, you're not going to have ETN today, which means a lot of Tank Bigsby. I think you become a team that may run first. I think they carried it. They had, I talked to Doug about this, 16 runs in a row last week. So I think balance is first and foremost. I don't think you want to get into and I heard you say it earlier, and I agree with you, this could be a high-scoring game. But I don't think you want to add to that to allow it to be a track meet mentality. I think they got to try and run the football. I think that's a big part of it more than anything else. The other thing is, try not to let the Packers hit a lot of plays over the top. He's got a big arm. Jordan Love's a young player. He throws the ball deep. He wants to hit some deep balls. Make them go down the field. So I think if you turn it into that kind of a game, not really a game in a phone booth, Hayes, but a game where you're running the ball, there's some balance, your drives are 11 plays, not 4 plays, I think that's the kind of game the Jags need to play today.
Frank, what's your confidence level in Trevor Lawrence going up against this Green Bay Packers defense?
I think he's going to play well if they play the way we just talked about, Mia. I think the Jags have to have balance. I think Trevor's played pretty well of late. He got off to a tough start, but I think his numbers now are significantly better on the season. He's up to 62%. Remember, he was 52% the last time we looked at this, two or 3 weeks ago. I think he's playing a little bit better. I think he's found a rhythm with his receivers now. Christian Kirk is now into the flow. Evan Ingram is now into the flow. He's got the deep threat with Brian Thomas Jr., who, golly, is maybe becoming the number one receiver on this team now. So I think he's playing a little bit better. And, again, I think he's all part of that, Mia, that whole they've spent together. That's real now. They were together for 10 days. They're just them. And they come back a little bit better. Not because they won the last game. I agree with Hayes. The Patriots are a struggling team, but they played well in that game. No matter who you're playing NFL teams, you got to play well. I think Trevor's going to play well today. Beautiful day. I'd be surprised if he doesn't.
How many touchdowns will Brian Thomas have today?
7. Hey, 7 touchdowns. That's what I'm looking for.
That might be a record.
Yeah, I would start him in your fantasy league. That's my recommendation.
Is one going to be on the ground, though? We've seen more jet sweeps, Frank. Maybe he surprises us.
Maybe he throws one today.
Yeah, 6 deep balls in a reverse. That's my expectation.
All right.
I do think they're going to throw the ball. This is an interesting matchup. If you look at the Packers overall, if you look at them, what a young team. Think about this for a second. Their top 3 receivers, Reed, Dobbs, and Kraft, are all 24 or 23. Jordan Love's 25. He's like the oldest guy on the offense. Other than Josh Jacobs, who's the one veteran, he's like the oldest guy on the offense. It is a really young team. They play free and easy. But I do think young team, nobody has really tested them. I think young teams can get flustered at times. They haven't seen as much football as some of the veteran teams. This will be the youngest team the Jags play all year long. They are a really young team. So play well early on, gain your confidence, maybe put a little doubt into the Packers' mind, see what happens.
Frank Frangie joining us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline here on the Terminix Kickoff Show. He, of course, will be on the call right here on the Superstation today for the Packers and the Jaguars. Coming up at 1 o'clock with Jeff Lageman, the Hall of Famer, Tony Baselli, and Bucky Brooks. Frank, if you can believe it, we have gotten about 31 minutes into today's program, and outside of a brief mention from Hayes, we have not addressed the defensive side of the ball just yet for the Jacksonville Jaguars, going up against that high-powered offense, although young, that you just described for the Green Bay Packers. Big picture, Jaguars defense heading into Week 8 versus where you thought they would be Week 8. Can they still get there, or is this just a different offense than a different defense than we thought it would be at the onset of the season?
Yeah, it's a great question, Mia. Very good question. Look, they're 27th in the league in total defense. I thought they'd be better than that. I think most of us did. I think we were excited about the new look, the 4-3 look, Ryan Nielsen coming in. I think we all thought that they would rank higher than that in defense. Can they get there? We'll see. They've got everybody back healthy now. Tyson Campbell coming back was a big thing. You knew when you started you needed a lot from him. Ronald Darby's a veteran. He's been a good player, not a great player. Everybody else at your quarterback position was going to be young. They really needed Dewey. Say what you want about Dewey. He's a solid, smart, veteran guy. I think the fact that they had him made them confident that they could move on from Rayshon Jenkins and play Antonio Johnson. Antonio was spinning a little bit. The game was going kind of fast for him. He's going to be a good player, but they needed to kind of let him sit and rest for a little bit. I think now that they've got Savage and Cisco back there, and Dewey hopefully is back by next week, I think they're more veteran than they've been. I'll tell you this, though, Mia. I'm really excited about seeing Foye Oluokun and Ventrell Miller together. Those two guys are smaller, quick, attacking downhill linebackers that have a little bit of a burst. I don't think Devin Lloyd was playing very well. They moved him to middle linebacker. He looks bigger than he was. He looks at least to my eye, a step slower than he was. Chad Moon was a good player, but he's not a guy with a lot of burst either. They now have two linebackers who I think will play much of the game together today. That's my guess. Foye Oluokun and Ventrell Miller, who can really move now. I mean, good first steps, come downhill. You need fast line. Today's game's faster, man. You need fast linebackers today. You need to be able to run and play in space. And now they've got two. So if there's one benefit to all these injuries they've had is they have introduced us to Ventrell Miller. I think Ventrell Miller and Foye Oluokun together are going to be very good today. I can't wait to watch this.
Do you think the Jaguars will be able to generate consistent pressure on Jordan Love?
Well, that's the key, isn't it? I mean, I think you got to keep him from making plays off schedule. A lot of that, Hayes, I think Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker will continue to play well. Trayvon's having a bit of a coming out party. He's already got 6 sacks. The key is that pressure in the middle. Devon Hamilton played by far his best game of the year last week. He's trying to fight back from that stuff. He played by far his best game of the year. But the question becomes those other guys. Is Mason Smith his backup? Does he help the cause? Does Tyler Lacey step up? Jeremiah Ledbetter is the smartest defensive lineman they got. He's the guy that turns around and tells the linebackers kind of where the ball is coming. I mean, he really knows how to play. But can he impact the pocket? If they can't get anything in the middle of the field and they don't blitz very much, the answer to that question is no, because you can find a way to chip and help out on ends if the tackles aren't doing their part. So the key to your question really is Devon Hamilton, Tyler Lacey, Mason Smith, that group. I hope so. I'll tell you this. I hope so. If there's one thing that worries me is can they get to Jordan Love? I think it's one of the biggest question marks of the game today.
Frank, we have run through the offense, we have run through the defense, so now let me ask you, who is your X factor for the Jaguars? Who is your X factor for the Green Bay Packers?
I got to find the rules on this. Am I allowed to go to the same guy over and over, or do I have to change?
Yes, you absolutely. Well, because here's the thing: is you're going to have somebody new for the opposition, so you are going to introduce something a little new.
Okay, because I don't know if I can do that. Again, don't have it's early. I don't have my rule book out yet. So, but the key is, but I'm going to say this every week probably. We've talked about Ingram and Kirk. Obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. gets over the top. The key is Tank Bigsby. If Tank has a game, if Tank Bigsby goes north of 100 yards, they're going to win the game. Write that down and then remind me if I got it wrong, because I probably will. But if Tank Bigsby goes over 100 yards, maybe they're going to win the game. I think that's a big part. And I think defensively, the two guys I just talked about, I think in my mind, having Foye Oluokun and Ventrell Miller out there together, I keep referencing this from last year, and Hayes is probably tired of hearing me talk about it. And I know Willie Gay's not with the Chiefs anymore, but when Nick Bolton and Willie Gay were playing well, I thought the Chiefs had the best defense in the league last year. Patrick Mahomes great, and Kelsey's great, and Andy Reid's a great play caller. But I thought they had the best defense in the league, and part of it was those two fast, undersized downhill linebackers. And I think that's what the Jags will have today. So give me defensively Ventrell Miller and Foye Oluokun, and offensively Tank Bigsby has to have a big game. I think that's a very, very big part of the game today.
Frank, what does a win do for the Jaguars today, in your opinion?
Well, that's the thing, Hayes, and I know you probably said this before I did on our show this week, but you're dead on. If they get this one, now there's some confidence. Now there's some confidence that here we go again, come back from London playing well. Now you've won 2 in a row. Now you've won 3 out of 4. You win 3 out of 4 in the National Football League, you're on a roll. It's a hard league, man. It's hard to get 3 out of 4. So win 2 in a row, win 3 out of 4. You play these mountainous teams from the NFC North. Well, if you just take one down, might be the best one. We'll see. If you take one of them down, then you have a little bit of confidence. And I think confidence in the fan base, Hayes. I think confidence in the city. I think, this team, we talk about this all the time. There's no NBA or baseball here. There's no hockey here. There's one team. And everything they do is so magnified to all of us because they're that one team we have. And when something starts going well, you can really feel it. You feel it all over town. They'll feel it in that locker room. They'll feel it as they travel. And they've got the start of that. Despite who they beat, they've won 2 out of 3. If you can get it to 3 out of 4, I think there's immense confidence. I also think around the league, people that thought the Jags were going to be pretty good this year, and I think that's most people, maybe they didn't think they were going to be great, but thought they were going to be pretty good. I think all of a sudden that feeling comes back. It fuels confidence. That's why this is a gigantic game for the Jaguars today against Green Bay. It really is.
Frank, don't worry. Hayes and I have to make our X Factor predictions in the next segment, and something tells me that Tank Bigsby's name will also come up there. We appreciate you joining us as you do each and every Sunday on the Terminix Kickoff Show, Frank. Thank you so much.
Okay, me and Hayes. Take care.
There he goes, Frank Frangie, the voice of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, will be on the call at 1 o'clock today on 92.5 FM, 1010 AM with the Hall of Famer Tony Baselli, Jeff Lageman, and Bucky Brooks. Still a whole lot to get to on today's Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. You heard me mention it. Our X Factors are coming up next, as well as what I believe, Hayes, maybe one of the longest interviews Trayvon Walker has ever given one-on-one in the locker room, and one of the most transparent and open interviews that I've ever had with Trayvon. That's up next, coming up here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars and Gators, pro, college, and high school sports. Wow! Get the most play-by-play on 1010XL, Jacksonville's play-by-play sports radio.
When pests invade your space, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, we show up for you and eliminate pests quicker. Because we care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so do we. Don't live with a pest problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TerMinix.com. TerMinix.com. Terminix it.
City AC, heating that rules.
Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bold City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options.
Bold City AC, we got the crew. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com.
Huddle up at Hurricane Grill and Wings, where every day is game day. Dig into fan-favorite dishes and new shareables, including carne asada loaded fries, hot honey wings, and boom boom sliders. Try new cocktails like the spicy Guavarita and the Red Bullarita, or enjoy bucket specials featuring Miller Lite, Modelo Especial, and High Noon during all pro and college football games. Don't miss out. Grab your friends and family and swing by Hurricane Grill and Wings and see what everyone's cheering about. HurricaneWings.com.
Hello, I'm Jerry Holland, Duval County Supervisor of Elections. Do you like lines? And I'm not talking about offensive and defensive lines. I'm talking about the long lines you will be standing in if you wait to vote on Election Day. If you're a Duval County voter, vote early at any of our 24 early voting sites. For more information, go to northfloridavotes.com to learn more. We'll see you at the polls.
He's not Pistol Pete. He's Pete Prisco.
Been on the wanted list almost 20 years.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins the Frangie Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at ProJaxRoofingFL.com.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores.
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJax.com. Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a dandy, and do it today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. The personal injury attorneys of Farah & Farah present this injury update. Farah & Farah.
Jacksonville.
Exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We entered the weekend with 6 Jaguars listed as questionable heading into today's game. Those injuries have been updated slightly per the team as of yesterday, Hayes Carline. Let's run through the headliners in that press release from yesterday. Foye Oluokun officially activated off of the reserve injured list. He is expected to play today after his 21-day window was open earlier this week.
Huge. Can't wait to see him back out there today. And, again, we talk about Green Bay love and the receivers, but certainly Josh Jacobs is a big threat as well. So to have Oluokun back, gigantic ad.
As we've told you throughout the duration of today's program, Travis Etienne entered this game listed as questionable, considered a long shot to play, not only by Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, but also by Doug Pederson in his interview with Frank Frangie on the Frangie Show from Friday. And so expectation is that he probably will be held out one more week with that hamstring injury. The team also elevated running back Jake Funk and defensive end Joe Gaziano off of the practice squad to the active roster yesterday.
Yeah, and when Funk is active, you've got a hell of a problem, and that's what the Green Bay Packers have today.
Hey, listen, he could be a nice little scat back, third down back in the receiving game. You know, You never know what could happen there. He didn't actually see any offensive snaps that I know of last week against the Patriots, so not so sure we'll be seeing a lot of Jake Funk, but nonetheless a sign that Travis Etienne probably will not go today. Andrew Wingard will not go today, officially downgraded to out. Expectation per Doug Pederson is one more week probably for Wingard as he works his way back from that significant knee injury he suffered in the second week of training camp. Cam Robinson has cleared the concussion protocol. He has no game status for today's game after being listed as questionable on Friday. Hayes, is your expectation that he will be the starting left tackle when they kick off at 1 o'clock?
I would think so, just because they've never shown really any sign of wanting to go away from him in favor of Walker Little. Now, I'd have no problem if it's Walker Little. He played very well last week, and, so, that's probably the direction I would lean in. But if Cam Robinson is cleared, and he is, and he's making that big money, it's like, well, if he's healthy, he's our guy. So we'll see if anything changes there. But history would say that it'll be Cam Robinson if he's healthy.
Two other names on the Jaguars injury report heading into today's Week 8 matchup. Eseze Otomewo, the second-year defensive tackle, listed as questionable with a calf injury. And this one I thought was interesting, Hayes. Mason Smith popped up on the injury report Friday. He did not practice with an ankle injury. He is also listed as questionable.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because, I was hoping Mason Smith would have a little bit more of an opportunity by this point in the year. And, to see, he's been inactive for just a healthy scratch a couple of times. And, you certainly wonder if whatever he suffered Friday is significant enough to keep him out. And I would guess that he would be inactive just because obviously he was already teetering on just being a healthy scratch. So, that's unfortunate. Hopefully he is able to give them something today, but I am not expecting him to be up.
Meanwhile, for the Green Bay Packers, the only player who is doubtful for today's game, Corey Ballantyne, the backup cornerback.
Yeah, they are super healthy.
Yes, they are very healthy.
Wow.
I was just double-checking, actually, on Twitter. That's why I was perusing here, if you saw me on our YouTube live stream or Facebook or X. Quay Walker, concussion protocol, but was a limited participant in both Thursday and Friday's practice. The former the big-time linebacker, of course, out of Georgia. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, Georgia. Mm-hmm. I'm making sure. Wait a second. I don't want to speak out of turn for you dogs. Devontae Wyatt also limited in Thursday and Friday and Wednesday's practice. He is also listed as questionable, both of those two guys. And the interesting one for me, Hayes, Josh Myers, the interior offensive lineman, did not practice Wednesday with a wrist injury, limited on Thursday and Friday, but he does have an injury designation as questionable. That is certainly an opportunity, I think, for this Jaguars defense. If he is, despite being perhaps their best offensive lineman, if he is not at full strength, that's where I would love to see a mismatch to be created, bringing Josh Hines-Allen in, Trayvon Walker in to rush over the guard.
Yeah, it's a great point because, again, think about it. What would be a reasonable, in your estimation, a reasonable point total for the Jaguar defense to hold Green Bay to?
24?
That's what I would say.
Yeah, 24.
If it's under 24, they've had an excellent day.
You want to keep it under 20, and so with this offense, you probably say 24.
Yeah.
Speaking of Trayvon Walker, I did catch up with him earlier this week, fresh off the plane from London and heading into this Week 8 matchup with the Packers. Pleased to be joined with Jaguars defensive end Trayvon Walker. Trayvon, good to see you. How was the trip to London?
The trip was pretty good. First week was okay, but the second week was a lot better.
Yeah. Describe the mood coming out of that, obviously disappointing loss, but then how you guys, it sounds like from everybody we've talked to this week, really came together as a unit.
Definitely. Just being over there, that's something that we take pride in while we're over there for the last 3 years that I've been here. Once we're in London, it's basically like another camp, but just not as intense. It's all about the bond and the chemistry amongst each other while we're in the hotel, out there with each other for the 9 to 10 days out there. And we just want to continuously build that chemistry throughout the whole season to help us continue to grow on the field.
Tell me, is it the bonding, you're doing activities together, you're on the resort, or is it truly, as a couple of your teammates have shared, is it truly you're just staring at each other for hours on end?
It just depends on the type of person that you are. So it's a combination there of everything. On the field, just staring in each other's face. You can be playing the cards or in each other's room playing the game, or just outside shopping, just things to do, bonding with each other. Like this guy in my room all night long.
Yeah. Talking a little SEC with Tank Bigsby while you guys are over there? Or?
Chill out, bro.
There you go. Yeah. We'll talk dogs here in just a little bit. Don't you worry. I know you want to take that victory lap.
Definitely.
Let's start. I do want to ask about Tank, because I do want to ask about the offense. What have you seen from them over the last few weeks in particular?
From what I've seen from the offense is what I've seen from the complete team overall is just the fact of everybody doing their job, what's asked of them to do within that, whatever the play is that's called. And I just feel like everyone is executing on the offensive end, special teams, and defensive end as well.
The reason I want to talk about Tank is I think there's this idea that rookies come in and they should automatically be producing. I'm sure you experienced it as well, this expectation of you need to be producing right away. I'd say he's proof and you're proof that sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get used to the pace of the NFL.
Most definitely. For me, my experience on that was just obviously coming in, trying to learn from a lot of the other guys that's in front of you or playing next to you, just trying to learn from the things that they're doing to help make you better. And going into that year two, obviously, as you can see with Tank, he gets a lot more, like, it's trust within that with the coaches as well. So he's built that trust throughout his rookie year with the coaches, and now going into his second year, he's getting a lot of more opportunities, and now he's just making them count. And I feel like he's doing a great job of running the ball. Just keep striving for the best, 1% better every day for him. That's what we always talk. I've been knowing Tank for a long time, and I know the mindset that he has and that he plays with, and he's going to be great regardless just because of how he attacks the game of football.
Did you guys play against each other in high school?
We did.
Yeah.
He played for Callaway High School, and I played at Upton Lee, which was like 30, 45 minutes apart. So it was a pretty big game.
Yeah. What was that like, you two in high school going against
Tank in high school? Tank, for a running back, his size, he was pretty big. He was fast, physical, same thing that you see on tape now. It's just now in the league, he's putting it all together into the league, and that makes him even more dangerous.
Good transition. Trayvon year 3 versus Trayvon year 2. What's different?
Oh, man. For me, I'll just say I'm playing a lot more free. Like, I feel like I'm back in college my junior year. I feel like every year I feel like I'm back in college, but my junior year in college, I felt the most comfortable because I've been through so much. My first 2 years, my first year, I went from just playing third down to building, obviously, into my second year, first and second down row. And that's kind of where I am now, just going out there and playing fast. Execute.
I know Josh just told us that he's enjoying the double coverage, or the double teams that you are seeing. Frees him up a little bit. How would you describe the evolution of how teams have countered you from week 1 to where we are entering week 8?
I feel like teams do a pretty good job of scheming us up. But I feel like throughout the game, that's where us as players and coaches have to come together and continuously talk on what we're seeing, what the coaches are seeing from the sideline, and what the players are getting on the field. That way we can keep working with each other. So obviously if I'm getting double teamed, that'll free up some of the guys on the inside or some of the guys on the edge. So obviously it's going to work out for the best. If somebody's drawing more attention, if somebody's drawing 2 guys, and that frees up somebody else. So I'm willing to do. I'm that type of person. I'll do that every play if I have to, just to free up some of my other guys to go make plays as well.
I know it's been a rotation, 2 of those inside guys. Mason was inactive this past week, and now Lacey was inactive 2 weeks ago. How have you and Josh kind of countered that you don't know necessarily who's going to be lined up on the interior next to you?
Just being able to control what we can control. That's something that's not in our control. So obviously we have to go out and, like I say, in order for us to be a good team, we just have to go out and execute our job, do what we can do to help the team win, and let's go out there and execute the plays that's called. And that's something that we can't control.
I know this guy's standing here. He's ready to talk some smack. So perfect segue to set. Oh, they got your
banger.
Oh, your playlist.
Definitely, my playlist hard. Why, bro? You rock with it. You was singing it. You be singing it. You just don't sing that part.
We will let you end on this, Trayvon. The Georgia Bulldogs, the floor is yours. What have you seen from them? I know it was probably disappointing. You didn't get to watch them live this past weekend.
So actually I didn't, but I seen the highlights. I felt like they played. Shut your ass up. I felt like they played pretty good. They played to the standard of Georgia football, and I've been pretty impressed with them the whole season. It's just that Bama game. Obviously, they put themselves in a big hole. But coming out to the end of the game, they showed their true selves, coming together, being able to fight all the way back. But unfortunately, they lost still. But it's still some great signs. So, me, I'm always room betting. I'm not betting. but I'm always rooting for them to make it to the national championship.
Figuratively speaking, you're always going to put your metaphorical money on the dogs. I lied. One more for you, Trayvon. The Jaguars beat the Packers this week if blank.
We just continuously build out the energy coming out of the last game, and everyone goes out and execute all three phases of the ball: offense, defense, special team.
Trayvon, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Told you, one of the longer, more wide-ranging, fun interviews.
Yeah,
Look,
great job.
The evolution of Trayvon Walker off the field that's something that we've been blessed enough what we've gotten to see Hayes being in the locker room each week. This was a guy who, yes, entered the league as the number 1 overall pick, a quieter guy, raised in a military family, does his 111. That's how he approaches life, not just his job on the football field. We forget that he entered the league and was asked to play a position he did not play in college. And I think what you've seen over the last few weeks, and Frank mentioned this on the Garber Auto Mall hotline, you've seen not only the confidence building on the field, but in terms of that leadership role. And Josh Hines-Allen talked about that as well. You can see Trayvon not only more comfortable in the game plan, but also in his own skin and who he is as a leader in that locker room.
Absolutely. Great interview. And he is really becoming a great player here. And he's wired the right way. He's everything you could ask for in a teammate and a representative of your organization, and just does everything at a first-class level. And it is fun seeing him get more attention, and I think that does free him up, and to hear him have that insight of comparing where he is now to his Georgia career. I mean, you're seeing absolutely a comfort zone developing, and you're seeing somebody with elite traits now giving very high-end production because he's starting to figure out the nuances of pass rush plan and things like that. And certainly having the opportunity to work opposite Josh Hines-Allen is a very beneficial situation. So, I mean, it's the two of them it's really exciting to see how they'll continue to grow. They just, the Jaguars just got to find them a little bit more help, whether that's Armstead on the inside or just maybe the growth of Mason Smith as we get into the second half of the year, but something in that interior piece has got to come forward. Devon Hamilton, as Frank mentioned, played great last week, but they've got to get something on the interior. If they could get that, they could be lethal because we know what Trayvon and Josh can do.
You also heard a couple of guest appearances in that interview. Let's segue back to one of those gentlemen who made an appearance. Our X factors for today's game between your Jacksonville Jaguars and the Green Bay Packers. I told Frangie it's okay to say this guy's name as your X factor each and every week, because he is my X factor on this fine Sunday. That is one Tank Bigsby. Yes, no Travis Etienne most likely in today's game, Hayes. That's okay, and it's also okay when Travis Etienne returns next week that you have two great running backs. Here is the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, on that dynamic duo.
I think it helps a lot. Quarterback, yeah, but just as a team, it helps us because, running back it's a tough physical position, and I think the more guys you can have, and you throw Dearness in that mix too, the more guys you can have that, one, know what to do it the right way, and also can make plays, and all three of those guys can do that. So, and they're all a little bit different, like you said, but just the more you can have, you keep guys healthy, you can rotate them, keep them fresh.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that while, yes, you want to preserve energy, preserve as much as you can for the stretch run of the season, Tank Bigsby is the type of running back that he needs carry after carry in order to get comfortable and to, quote-unquote, get lathered up and find a rhythm. I want to see the Jaguars go to him time and time again here today to set up that play action in which Trevor Lawrence has been so successful this season.
Absolutely. It's a great call, and if Tank plays well, yeah, that'll be a big step towards the Jaguars' victory. For my X factor, I'm gonna use a clump of guys.
Ooh, okay. I used the clump last time we were here
I'm gonna
at
go
Tailgaters.
clump here, and I'm gonna say every defensive back not named Tyson Campbell is an X factor today because I have confidence that Tyson, he's going to be able to play well. He's now fully recovered. Was able to get back last week, and now I think he'll be back to his 100 participation role. But I am worried about how the Jaguars cover everywhere else because Tyson Campbell, he could shut down Watson or Dobbs or whoever he's primarily up against today. But Green Bay has done such a magnificent job of building this young receiving core and having Kraft at tight end that when you think about Reed, Dobbs, Wicks, Watson, Kraft, I worry that even if Tyson is able to cover up his guy, that Jordan Love is going to constantly be able to take advantage of the other side of the field and things like that. So, to me, Monteric Brown, Ronald Darby, the safeties, they've all got to play at a really high level, or Jordan Love's going to throw for 350 with 4 touchdowns.
Gus Logue identified on Duval Rundown's Thursday episode, he identified the Jaden Reed, Jarian Jones matchup in the slot as his number 1 matchup that you have to watch for this week. It'll be a tall task for the rookie. That is their leading wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. And it'll be curious because Tyson Campbell presumably will be lined up on somebody else. Speaking of the Green Bay Packers, let's take a quick break, head into the 9 o'clock hour, and we will be joined by ESPN's Rob Demovsky. Wow, words are hard. Rob Demovsky, who, of course, covers the Green Bay Packers. Don't go anywhere. The Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade, continues right after this.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, I've heard you talk about the quality philosophy of Underwood's. Just what is that?
Frank, simply stated, the Underwood quality philosophy is fine jewelry and gifts will bring customers back and create new customers through the endorsements given to Underwoods by our satisfied customers. However, it's our definition of quality that's really been the Underwood difference, because quality has to go beyond materials and craftsmanship and has to include things like design, how it's presented, our service, our integrity, a customer's experience in our store, and the satisfaction a customer feels when they've chosen a special gift from Underwoods. A person or a company earns a reputation over a long period of time. And in Underwoods, we know that you earn your reputation every day, because that good reputation can be lost in a matter of days if you're not committed to doing the right thing for the long term.
That's Underwood, serving excellence in North Florida since 1928 in San Marco, Avondale, or the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
What's the weekend in sports look like? I'm Dan Hicken, and I'll give you my take on The Weekend with Dan. Find it on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan, brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
When you're behind the wheel of your car, you expect a safe journey. But what if the other driver's careless and you're injured? The responsibilities and demands on your spouse just doubled. You suddenly can't work. So what happens to your family's income? And by now, the emergency room and medical bills may be sitting on your kitchen counter. You've got some problems, and we want to hear about them. Call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Office, Jacksonville.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Salvatore'sPizza.org.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals, dine in with beer and wine, and delivery at salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM and FM. Jacksonville Beach. 1010XL. Home sweet home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now let's go behind enemy lines. Behind enemy lines. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
9:04 a.m. on your clock, and we welcome to the 9:04 and to the Terminix Kickoff Show ESPN's Rob Domofsky, who is here in Jacksonville to cover today's game between the Big Cats and the Packers. Rob, thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. How are you?
Appreciate you joining us. A beautiful day here. Hopefully not too warm for yourself and so many of the folks from Wisconsin who have descended upon Duval County. We appreciate you joining us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline as we go behind enemy lines. Rob, let's start big picture here. I led off our first hour of today's program noting that in speaking with several media members, speaking with personnel up there in Green Bay, former players, the words trap game have been used, I think, and I don't think this is out of line to say, they've been used quite frequently this week up in Wisconsin. Why is that for today's matchup?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a media thing, but I don't think players think that way. I really don't. There's only 17 of these things. This isn't like, you know, the NBA and they're playing 82 games and, you know, you got the Celtics two nights from now and you're playing, you know, somebody bad the night before or something like that. I don't think it's – I think this team is and I think most teams don't look at it that way just because, you know, one game swings so differently in this league. I mean, there's a huge difference between being, what are they, 5-2 right now? If they had lost last week, 4-3. I mean, there's just a huge difference. I realize they've got some big division games coming up. This team's only played one division game, which is kind of weird. You know, we're going to be – 8 games into it after today and only played one division game. But the other thing, too, this is kind of a young – well, it's not kind of. It is the youngest team in the NFL. And I just think they're so naive to, you know, how some veterans might look at things that they just go to work and get their stuff done.
Hey, Rob, it's Hayes Carline. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. And I've really been intrigued this week, the storyline that Matt LaFleur brings in one of his best friends in the world, Robert Saleh, to kind of give him some eyes on the offensive side, to kind of give him his defensive expertise on what he's seeing. I think it's a brilliant move, but what kind of dividends do you think that can pay off for Green Bay and LaFleur's offense?
Yeah, he's actually done this once before with a defensive coach. Aubrey Pleasant was a defensive backs coach for the Lions. And he actually got let go mid-season a couple of years ago, and LaFleur brought him in to help with the offense, to bring a defensive perspective to the offense. And, you know, LaFleur said it again this week, that it's just nice to get a view of how someone on the defensive side perceives your offense and what kind of things that they see, how they would attack you. This one's obviously gotten a lot more attention because it's Robert Saleh, because he's, you know, LaFleur was the best man at his wedding, and, you know, the guy coached Aaron Rodgers for the last couple of years. So, you know, definitely a higher profile move. But the one thing I actually don't know is if Robert Saleh is with them today. like he was with him in Green Bay up through Thursday, and then was going home Friday. I don't know. I'm really interested to find out if he's actually here sitting up in the press box, or this is really more of like a consultant role, and he'll look at film and then maybe come back to Green Bay when they get back down tomorrow.
Yeah, that's definitely a storyline to follow, Rob, because I know Mike Vrabel is technically consulting in Cleveland, but he was spotted a few weeks ago on a Sunday at an Ohio State volleyball game. Maybe we'll spot Robert Saleh either on the sideline today, or we will find him at some college volleyball or high school volleyball game, or following his kids somewhere. Hey, Rob, let's stay on the offensive side of the ball when it comes to the Packers. Evaluate the play of the offensive line as well as the health of that offensive line, knowing that Josh Myers and Elgton Jenkins have popped up on the injury report.
Yeah, that's a great question. Elton has been pretty much on the injury report all year and hasn't missed a game. Josh Myers has battled a bunch of things. This is a guy who, I don't know if you saw a few weeks ago, puked on the football. It was so hot in one of the games early in the season, threw up on the football, snapped it. They played on. So this guy's pretty tough. I expect him to play, but they've been pretty good up front, except for one thing. They've been a little penalty-ridden. They've had some holding calls that have wiped out some big plays. But for the most part, they've protected Jordan Love pretty well. So, it hates to sound cliche, but, it all starts up front. And that group has done a pretty good job. But if they're missing a guy or two, everything changes, for them. But I thought they handled, a pretty darn good defensive front last week from Houston pretty well.
Rob, the Packers have so many young emerging receivers, Reed, Dobbs, Wicks, Watson. How would you rank those guys? And can you give fans here that maybe haven't seen the Packers yet a little idea of the skill set of each of those guys?
Yeah, Jaden Reed is like the go-to guy in so many different capacities. But he's a slot receiver, right? So people label that, well, you're a slot receiver, you can't be a number one. Well, he's pretty close to a number one. I would say, from a reliability, like if it's 3rd and 6 and they need 7 yards on a slant, it's Romeo Dobbs. The big play guys are Watson and Wicks. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they look to try to get Watson going a little bit this week. He hasn't had huge numbers this season for a number of reasons. One of which is Jordan Love missed 2 games when they started Malik Willis, and they really didn't throw the ball down the field at all. But he's starting to come on a little bit, and they would love to get him going deep because he just as when you hit a deep ball, it just changes the way the defense has to play you. And then Dontavian Wicks has had some drop issues this year, but they still love his ability. I mean, Jaden Reed told me a couple weeks ago that he thinks Dontavian Wicks is the best route runner of all of them.
Interesting. Let's stay on the offensive side of the ball for one more, Rob, because I know we do want to ask you about that Packers defense, and certainly a tough day at the offense against Joe Mixon, although a win last week against the Houston Texans. The tight end position is certainly a position that has been the Jaguars' Achilles heel when it comes to their defense over the better part of the last, 30 years, but especially this season and the last 4 or 5 years, stopping tight ends. And the Packers certainly have 2 good ones in Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. Luke, though, I know only 5 catches coming into today's game. What is his health status, and maybe why has Kraft emerged as the go-to tight end this year compared to last year?
Yeah, so Musgrave won't play. He is out. But Kraft, even before the Musgrave injury, Kraft sort of had surpassed him a little bit. And Tucker Kraft, he's a throwback kind of guy. He's from a little town, Timberlake, South Dakota. In high school, he played, I think it was 8 or 9-man football. Played at South Dakota State. Just kind of a blue-collar type of guy who has become sort of a rising star. This is a guy who loves, you get him the ball in the open field, he'll run over a guy, he'll hurdle a guy. He always says, I have one rule, I'm never going to let a defensive back tackle me. That's the way he plays the game. And I think he's got a chance to be a real star in this league because he's got kind of a big personality and yet he plays the game all out. So I think he's got a chance to. I think he's got 3 or 4 touchdowns already this year. So he's definitely on people's radar.
Rob, Green Bay has 17 takeaways, leads the NFL by 4 in that category. How do you expect the Packers defense today to try to fluster and confuse Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean, Xavier McKinney had interceptions in the first 5 games. He's gone 2 games without one. He's due, right? Like, he's due for another pick. Look, this defense, you're talking about, Jacksonville having trouble covering tight ends for 30 years. It feels like the Packers defense has had trouble stopping the run for about the last 15 years, but they've taken the ball away this year, and that's really been the huge difference for them with new defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. Is he's giving guys a little bit more freedom. That they're playing with a little more vision to the football, which means your eyes are on the quarterback, which means you're playing a little bit more zone. And then the interesting thing is they're blitzing but not sending extra men, if that makes sense. Like they're pass rushing linebackers and safeties who might not all traditionally pass rush, but yet they're doing it within the confines of a 4-man rush, so they're not necessarily committing a ton of extra bodies. They are at some times, but they are getting. I think they sent only 5 or more rushers last week on 17% of the dropback. So it's not like they're just going crazy, but they are getting creative in who they're rushing, and I think that's caused problems for some teams as well.
Wrapping up with Rob Domofsky of ESPN on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Rob, when I ask you this then, knowing what you just said, it's probably, I know the answer already, but what was more surprising for you last week, knowing this Green Bay defense the way you do? The fact that they held C.J. Stroud under 100 yards in the passing game, or the fact that Joe Mixon tallied 115 yards on 25 carries?
Yeah, I mean, I would have taken, if you would have set the over-under for Mixon on 110, I would have gone over for sure. But I would have never expected that they could have done that to C.J. Stroud, who, I know the Packers coaches talked last week about, they think he's one of the really, really bright, rising star quarterbacks in the league, as I think everybody does. But, that was a huge surprise. But until this run defense, kind of shows that it can do it week in and week out, I think that'll be the big question about the defense.
Are the Packers concerned about Jordan Love's 8 picks, or is it like, well, he's thrown 8 picks, but you take that because he's thrown 15 touchdowns and as you mentioned, had to battle through an injury?
Yeah, one of the storylines last week was, after the game was, is Jordan Love more Aaron Rodgers or more Brett Favre? And LaFleur, I think he said it a little bit in jest, but he's like, hey, let's ease with the Brett Favre comparisons here. And I don't know if he meant the interception or just, what Favre was as a quarterback. But, the crazy thing is he's got the most interceptions in the league, and he's missed 2 games. He's tied for second in touchdowns, and he's missed 2 games. So, he's going to be a little bit more aggressive. But I do think, a little bit like how the last season started. I mean, he threw 11 picks last year. 10 of them were in the first, I believe, 9 games of the season. So, last year he did cut down on those picks late in the year. The last 8 games, he was like 18 touchdowns, 1 interception. So, we'll see if a similar pattern follows this year. But I can tell you this, it's definitely something that they've been addressing and talking about. It's not like they're just saying, who cares? He's throwing picks, he's throwing touchdowns. They're definitely looking at it and trying to figure that out.
Rob, before we let you go, a score prediction. How do you see this one playing out here at Everbank Stadium?
I've gotten out of the business of score predictions because I'm terrible at it.
We can do X Factor if you'd prefer. We do offer that up.
Well, I would say this. The Packers made a interesting move last week when they signed Brandon McManus at kicker, and it came through immediately with the game-winning kick after they had all kinds of struggles in the kicking game. I would just say I think the Packers' special teams have been much improved, and if it is a close game, which I'm not so sure I expect it to be a close game, I think the Packers, I think they should take care of business today, but if they can't, in easy fashion, I do think the Packers' special teams could help them today.
Appreciate your time, Rob. Thank you so much for joining us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. See, we didn't have to put you on the spot there. We gloss over that score prediction. Exactly. X Factor glossing over, giving us a general idea.
And by the way, I'll say this about the Heat. It had been like in the 70s, mid to high 70s, Green Bay the last couple of weeks. So we've had an incredibly warm fall. So I do think the weather, it won't necessarily be as big a factor for them as it ordinarily would be.
And it was in the 60s here last week. So if anything, I think maybe for the Jags, this is a little bit more of a return to summer. We appreciate you joining us on the Garber Automall Hotline, Rob, and look forward to seeing you at the game today.
All right. We'll be seeing you. Enjoy the day.
Absolutely. There he goes. That's Rob Demovsky of ESPN. Does a great job covering the Green Bay Packers, and you can find him on X at Rob, DEMOVSKY, on X. So still a whole lot to do here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. Our keys to the game, brought to you by Instant Keys, are next, right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
Okay, excellent show, everyone.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Here in North Florida, you know that when temperatures go up and your AC goes out, you need help now. Like right now. Like lickety-split. So why not call Lickety Split and get same-day emergency service for your AC? Now, I bet you've seen their trucks all over town because they've got dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical too. So when you want it done right and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split AC Plumbing and Electric.
This college football season, we're celebrating more than touchdowns. It's time to honor playmakers of the classroom. Thanks to FIS and the College Football Playoff Foundation, Gator Bowl Charities is surprising 16 local teachers with $1,000 each week. Every honored teacher gets a special invitation to the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl January 2nd to be celebrated on the field. Teachers from Clay, Duval, Nassau, and St. Johns County, grades K through 12 are eligible. Nominate a deserving teacher today and let's score big for education at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
Rake in the savings this fall with Universal Roof and Contract. Enjoy 15% off all roof repairs and replacements with financing options as low as $115 a month. Protecting your home has never been easier. Schedule your free roof inspection today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP. This offer expires October 31st. Protect your home and your wallet. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
It's the Sporting Jacks Soccer Hour. Join Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz, and Becky Burley as they discuss the latest in the world of soccer, including Sporting Jacks bringing pro men's and women's soccer to Jacksonville. Tuesday nights at 6 on 1010 a.m.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy. And do it today.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores!
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com.
Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. At Terminix, we know how to stop termites. These destructive pests have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so do we. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem? Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
This is Jerry Holland, Duval County Supervisor of Elections.
If you're like me, there never seems to be enough hours in the day. You seem to be on the go from sunup to sundown, which is why I vote early. Listen, this ballot is very long. I'm talking at least 2 pages, and that's why I need the flexibility of early voting. I can choose a location that works for me and my schedule. You can cast your ballot at any of our 24 early voting sites. Visit northfloridavotes.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the keys to the game. Brought to you by Instant Keys. Fast, professional, honest locksmith service.
And away we go with our keys to the game here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade, live from Growler's Bar and Grill, Tailgaters Parking. Realized, Hayes, about an hour and a half into the program, we have not said hello to our friends on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. 641-1010 is the number to reach us at, as well as all of our friends live streaming from all over the world. Heard from you guys from as far away as Australia, listening right now on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Key to the game number 1 for me, I think we've already referenced it twice, so let's hear from the man himself, Tank Bigsby, why it is important for him to have consecutive runs, to not go away from the run, because he needs to be lathered up. He needs to find that rhythm and that consistency in the run game.
I feel like that's all the game come down to. I consistently pray that not just get going, just get in the flow of things and feel the game out. As a runner, you feel the game out, the better the game gonna be. And it's just like you get one run and you don't get another one to 10 plays after. It's kind of like the first run of the game. So when you come back to back, it's like, okay, I can see this hole, I can make this guy miss. We run the same run one time, and then we come back to it, and it don't work, but you missed it, then you hit it for longer this time. So it be things like that. Just getting a rhythm. It's very important as a running back in the O-line. I feel like running ball get O-line.
Press Taylor, if you're listening, please hear out Tank Bigsby. Hear out number 4. Do not run him and then go 10 plays without running him, because then it feels like his first run of the football game, and he may not be as effective.
Yeah, it's an absolutely great point, and Tank Bigsby hopefully will be heavily involved on every possession today. And look, if Rob just told us, if the Jaguars stick with Tank Bigsby, chances are he's going to pop one and have a very healthy stat line at the end of this thing. So yeah, that's a great one. Mine's more general. It's like, okay, you're 2-5. This is it. Like, play with passion today. Your season is on the line here. You can't lose this game, fall to 2-6 with games at Philly, home against the Vikings, at Detroit, and then home against Houston coming up. Your season is dead if you lose today. So all I've heard all week is they bonded in England again, and they're such a close team. It's got to show up today, because Green Bay's better. I mean, on paper, Green Bay is better. So how do you combat that if you're the Jaguars? If you play with more intensity, more togetherness, more harmony today, then that can carry you a long way to pulling this upset. But I need to see an inspired effort today out of the players to feel good about the direction of where the organization is headed. Because, again, Green Bay doesn't need this game. They've won 3 in a row. I mean, they obviously you want to win every game, but there's no question who the desperate team in this fight is, and it needs to be reflected on playing to the echo of the whistle today if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We said it off the air, Hayes. If you win today, you kind of forget about the Miami and the Cleveland games that not only did you have in your grasp, but those are games, in addition to the Chicago Bears game over in London, that you probably should have won. You are now at a juncture where you've lost games you should have won. You need to win games that you probably on paper should be losing. And so it'll be curious if today is one of those games. Our engineer on site, John O'Leary, said to us, we got to turn the tape back. We got to wind the tape back to 2022 and see what the two of us said right here at Growler's Bar and Grill on the Terminix Kickoff Show prior to the game against the Baltimore Ravens at the end of that November. Because that was a game that I vividly remember saying to you, Hayes, if they don't win today, it's probably over, and they found a way to win. And at that point of the season, they would have been 3-7 at that point, coming off of their bye, and it was a similar position to 2-5 here today.
Yeah, because they need to go 3-2 in their next 5, I think, to have any chance at staying in the hunt for a tournament berth. I mean, if you go 3-2, you come out of this 5-7, and your schedule eases up considerably. So 5-7, nothing great, but at least you're still in position to go make a run and possibly sneak in to either winning a bad division, which it I think is, or potentially getting one of those final wild card berths. Because when you look at the AFC right now, it's not as deep as I thought it would be.
Nope.
Like the teams that are currently in, the Colts, the Broncos, the Steelers, I could see any of those 3 falling off.
Yep.
And so, but you got to go 3-2. So if you lose today, now you're asking yourself to go 3-1 against the Eagles, Vikings, Lions, and Texans. That's not going to happen. So to me, today is the last stand. You've got to beat Green Bay to keep this thing afloat.
Back to on-the-field keys to the game in today's matchup against the Green Bay Packers. We talked a little bit earlier during my interview with Trayvon Walker about Josh Hines-Allen seeing perhaps less double teams as Trayvon becomes the focal point of team scouting report. We asked Josh earlier this week about what it's like to see Trayvon getting the bulk of the attention.
Yeah, keep on sliding his way. Keep on doing it. He deserves it. He's been balling and all that on that side.
Going off of what you just said about him, focusing more on him, just how much of that frees you up to do your thing?
Man, it's massive. I mean, obviously, when you look at, last year, I feel like last year they were, sliding the train, and I had a lot of one-on-ones backside, and I was taking advantage of all those, and I had a lot of free plays as well. So again, I think beginning of the season, I was getting a lot of, bless you, I was getting a lot of looks to my side, and Trey was taking advantage of his one-on-one. So, Trey got 6 sacks and only got 2.5, so he's the better end. So let's start focusing more on him, respectfully.
I do think that the problem and the asterisk, if you may, to this conversation, Hayes, and this key to the game is that teams can focus on Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker, and they can say, fine, hurt us in the middle, hurt us in the interior, and that's where the Jaguars really haven't had any answers. So I actually would kind of spin this key to the game and say that I need to see Eric Armstead rushing from the interior. I need to see Ryan Nielsen creating mismatches, whether that's Mason Smith being active today and having him rush over a guard where he has had some success in his rookie campaign, whether that's Devon Hamilton taking the next step in his return to full form. I need to see that because clearly teams know who 41 and 44 are, and even if only one of them is being double teamed, well, the other one's probably going up against the premier left tackle, and maybe there's a tight end coming in too to chip.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, it just gives the quarterback such a sense of comfort when they know the pressure isn't going to come directly up the middle at them. And the Jaguars just haven't shown the ability to do that. So I'm sure Jordan Love is going to be very cognizant of Hines-Allen and Walker, but he also, based on everything he's seen on film, probably thinks, okay, I can just take 2 steps up and cut off their angle, and no one in the interior is going to be around me. So that's got to change if they're going to take a big step forward. And I mean, hopefully it can. Another thing, too, is Josh Jacobs. We haven't talked a lot about him, but he's got 540 yards on the ground. Obviously, he's had an outstanding career, and now in his first year with Green Bay, averaging 4.5 yards a carry. He doesn't score a ton, but he's somebody that, he can keep Jordan Love in good down and distance situations, which, again, is going to create a nightmare in terms of covering all those young Packers receivers that aren't necessarily household names in this league yet, but are very much on their way.
And I think that not only Jacobs in the screen game, but that's why I asked Rob Domofsky when he joined us from ESPN, Tucker Kraft, the tight end position, that is a matchup that I am so fascinated to see, knowing, and Frank Frangie said it, and so I'd like to take Frank and know and believe, his insight, knowing his connections and everybody he speaks to in the building, if it is Ventrell Miller and Foye Oluokun starting at off-ball linebacker for you. Because for me, if Devin Lloyd is on the field, if Chad Muma is on the field, you can bet your bottom dollar that Matt LaFleur is going to find a mismatch with that linebacker or with that running back and have their head in a blender.
Yeah, it's going to be a dissection. I mean, let's just call this what it is. I mean, LaFleur versus Nielsen, I mean, that could easily be a first-round knockout. I mean, in terms of the schematic advantage I believe LaFleur possesses over Nielsen. So, yes, I mean, obviously Ventrell, Foye being back, that's fantastic. You love the progress that they're making. But my fear, LaFleur is going to have some things in this game that I think are going to catch the Jaguars off guard. To matchups that he's going to be able to take advantage of. I think the safety position too, for the Jaguars. So that's to me, when you look at this, the last time they were in this building, Joe Flacco's throwing it to Alec Pierce, engineering 2 touchdown drives in the fourth quarter.
In 30
seconds.
seconds.
42 and 45-second drives. So, I mean, that's what my fear is. LaFleur is going to be able to harness some of that with better personnel and torture the Jaguars with it too often today. Hopefully not, but to me that's a big key to this thing is not giving the Packers just the how did he get that open touchdown that just takes all the life out of the Jaguar sideline.
The Packers lead the NFL in takeaways. The Jaguars, as we know, haven't been able to create much of any. They have been bottom 3 in creating takeaways throughout most of this season so far. With that said, Hayes, you asked Rob Domofsky of this, and I will bring it back to Jordan Love. Ball security. Jordan Love was asked earlier this week by Rob and several other reporters in the Packers locker room how important ball security has to be for him, knowing in 2 less games than everybody else, he does share the NFL's lead in interceptions thrown.
I think obviously the interception is something I want to clean up, and definitely improve on, be able to be clean with the ball. I think the big focus for us is to go a game on offense having 100% ball security, so that's definitely a big takeaway. But, there's always different reasons for interceptions, whether it's bad read, poorly thrown ball, things like that. So there's so many different ways things happen. But, for me, definitely something I'm going to focus on going forward.
Obviously, if the Jaguars are going to create takeaways, you would think on paper this is a golden opportunity. Yes, Jordan Love has ascended into the conversation to potentially be a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. He is still prone to mistakes, whether it's being a gunslinger who has also thrown 15 touchdowns and just taking risks. This could be an opportunity for the Jaguars here today that if they want to raise that number of takeaways and of interceptions, of which they have just one on the season, this is an opportunity here today.
Yeah, it's got to happen. The Jaguars have to win the turnover battle today if they're going to pull this off, and it's going to be a very tough ask, as we've talked about. Green Bay's +6. That's tied for 3rd in this league. The Jaguars are -4. That's 27th. I mean, that's got to even itself out today. I think the Jaguars can win if it's even, but I think if you let Green Bay be +1, +2 in this game, awfully difficult, I think, to see the Jaguars pulling it out. So, yeah, I mean, Jordan Love, obviously, that's going to be in the back of his mind, protecting the ball. And you'd love to think the Jaguars, this can be the day. I also worry on the other side because while Trevor Lawrence has played well lately, this is a defensive scheme that I think historically he hasn't done the best with. And I am concerned to Trevor's budding instincts that maybe aren't as far enough along as you'd like for a player that's played this long now in the NFL. Is Green Bay able to take advantage on that and get a couple on their side as well? So, yeah, absolutely. How these quarterbacks protect the ball, the lack thereof, can go a long way to deciding it.
Those are our keys to the game, brought to you by Instant Keys. Again, we appreciate everybody chiming in on X, Facebook, YouTube. So many ways you can interact with the Terminix Kickoff show, as well as the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010. I don't feel so bad shouting him out because it is a public MyBookie Digital Studio chat line. Former Jaguars offensive tackle Jeremy Parnell is among the 185 of you watching on YouTube right now. So round of applause for one Jeremy Parnell. Be like him. Join in on the conversation. You know you're going to want to fire up the video version of this program if you are able to, if you're not driving, if you are able to pull it up on X, Facebook, or YouTube, because the Duval Donkey, folks, or rather, our next drink, I'm curious to see if it's a Duval Donkey.
Yeah, because we did, the shot last time?
We did the Brie. Maybe we're going to do the shot ski and the Brie. We did that last time. I haven't seen the shot ski just yet at Growler's Bar and Grill. Chad Mays just made eye contact with me, so maybe he's going to go get it. But we will be making a drink with our friends from Brackish Vodka coming up. And trust me, You are not going to want to miss it. I also do want to give a shout-out. Today is actually my brother's 30th birthday.
Oh, that's awesome. Happy birthday.
And to celebrate his 30th...
And happy birthday to you.
Thank you, yes, on Friday. And to celebrate his 30th birthday, he is running a marathon. He was a collegiate cross-country runner, and I just got the text. He crossed the half marathon, so 21K, 13.1 mile, in an hour, 33 minutes, and 53 seconds for a 7-minute pace. I wish I was as fast as you, Kyle O'Brien. One more segment to go here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade.
Everything about the game has changed, except for the most important thing. What you have inside. It is what drives the game. It refuses to be ignored. It sweats everything, turns an athlete into a legend. Gatorade. Is it in you?
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Bold City AC, heating that rules.
Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bold City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options.
Bold City AC, we got the crew. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, congratulating this week's high school scholar athlete, Mason DuBois, senior volleyball player at Mandarin High. Macy is a member of the National Honor Society, has applied to attend the University of Tampa. Congratulations, Macy.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Starting your game day.
The Terminix Kickoff Show. Live from Tailgaters Parking. Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade Fast Twitch on 1010XL.
For those of you unfamiliar with a certain tradition on the Terminix Kickoff Show. For those of you who are visiting from Wisconsin and you just flipped on the flagship station of your Jacksonville Jaguars, get ready, folks.
Oh, yeah.
This is why the people tune in. It is time for our brackish vodka demonstration with our friend Chad, of course, of Growlers Bar and Grill, where we are broadcasting live from at Tailgaters Parking right outside of Everbank Stadium. And Chad, you walked over here with a new special, which we're very excited to try and learn more about. But you walked over without the Jaguar shot ski.
I know. Thank you for calling me on that.
Because
can't mess with the mojo.
We did ensure the Jaguars' first win of the season by using the shot ski 3 weeks ago when they defeated the Colts. And so at the very least, we need its presence if we are to manifest some good juju.
We're going to do a shot out of the shot ski. We're going to make the drink to show everybody to where you can have something to walk away with.
Okay.
But then we're also going to take a shot from the shot ski.
This is a great plan.
Yeah. This is how we
started. This might be the best plan.
Yeah. The weather is perfect. It looks great out here. The fans are showing up. We're so happy there's no hurricane. we're just ready to go down here.
Exactly. For our friends who are unfamiliar, tell us what brackish vodka is, and I see we have the OG with us
today.
today.
We've got the OG. So this brackish vodka is gluten-free vodka that is kind of like got a little bit of a salt tint. It's toward the very end of the distillation process, they run it right through a salt bath, and it's like unbelievably smooth. So we have got it. We got the OG. They also have like 4 or 5 different flavors. They got the coffee. They got the toasted marshmallow, the cinnamon. They've got tangerine, pineapple, mango, I think peach, and one other flavor.
Elderflower.
Elderflower, right. And then and then of course the OG of all OGs right here. So today we're going to do 1.5 ounce pour of brackish vodka, and then we're going to do something that we thought about last week, which is strawberry lemonade.
Ooh, okay. We're
refreshing.
Getting a little creative out here. I love
strawberry lemonade. And then we're going to do that with the lemon wedge on top. Now, we also, since we've kind of been on, we're now starting to come out of the cellar. We've got the IV Jag in a bag, which you basically have Jag juice, which is brackish vodka, coconut rum, pineapple juice, blue carousel for the color. And then you get to carry this little bag around, and it kind of reminds you that, hey, we're still coming back. We're coming. We're doing our thing. And
I love it.
I'm going to take a little of this, and we're going to put it in a shot ski.
Okay, so we're going to do the strawberry lemonade with the brackish vodka as part of our shot ski.
Yes.
So maybe not as strong of a pour as perhaps we had last week, but still, we are utilizing that Jaguar shot ski, which is most important to keep the good juju going. Are those Jag in a Bags a special at Growler's Bar and Grill today?
Yes, we're now doing them. They're we're going to be able to, you can take them, go back out to the car, do everything you're going to do. It's basically a drink and a really fun way to have it. It's kind of supporting the team. We're doing anything we can to support the team. We love you, Jags. Come on, baby, bring us home a win today.
That would be lovely.
All right, let's get the shot ski going.
Here we go. Here we go. It's time, folks. Make sure you stop on by Growler's Bar and Grill, and maybe you too can hang out with the shot ski.
Oh, yeah, you come on, get it.
All right, here we go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, boy.
Well done.
I think the new outfit's okay. Man alive. This is what happens when you two are both a foot taller than me.
Wow.
Man, oh, man. Well, the shot ski
fantastic.
The shot ski will be in service today, right, Chad?
Yeah, it will be. It's going to be in service. Come on through. We got no problem at all taking pictures of you, having fun with you. Just Jag fans, come on. We're coming. Let's go.
We're coming. I may need you to go grab me a napkin because we had so much fun there with the old shot ski. But you can grab a napkin. You can grab a drink. Growler's Bar and Grill. You guys are open throughout the game.
Oh, yeah. We'll be here the whole game. We're going to be looking forward to it. Come on down.
All right. Make sure you stop on by, say hi. We are only with you until 10, and so just a little bit of more time here on 1010XL, but make sure you stop by and you say hi to Chad, the Brackish Vodka Gang, and so many of the other great vendors who are here on site at Tailgaters Parking and Growler's Bar and Grill. Before we make our final score predictions and take one last look at today's matchup, let's take a look around the AFC South.
Stroud. Untouched. He gets to him. That's McKinney, who is a playmaker.
The Green Bay Packers did indeed not only defeat the Houston Texans last week, helping the Jags out in a way by helping drop the Texans to 5-2 on the season, Hayes Carlyon, but certainly the dramatic victory with Brandon McManus hitting the walk-off field goal was the headliner. The fact that they held C.J. Stroud under 100 yards and sacked him 4 times, I think almost was an underrated storyline coming out of that dramatic win.
Yeah, without a doubt, and now just a gigantic game today with Indianapolis playing Houston. And again, I think Houston could start to slide. Today, obviously, they're a solid favorite over Indianapolis. But as you look down the road, Houston has a lot of tough games coming up, and so we'll see. I'd love to see, I think, from a Jaguars perspective, the Colts get it done today. But that is a big one right there. And again, it's why this game is so important. If you're able to beat Green Bay, you know you're going to gain a game either on the Colts or the Texans. So very pivotal game there. I do think the Texans are going to be able to take down Indianapolis. But, you give the Colts credit. They have been feisty despite the quarterback issues that they've had with Anthony Richardson.
As a couple of our friends in the MyBookie Digital studio have noted on YouTube, Hayes, no Nico Collins for the Houston Texans has certainly changed the dynamic of that offense.
Without a doubt. I mean, Tank Dell is having trouble getting going as well. D'Amico Ryan's voiced confidence in him. I mean, the running game's outstanding. Joe Mixon's doing a great job. Indianapolis does get DeForest Buckner today for his season debut. He's been on IR, so that'll be gigantic for Indianapolis's run defense. And Jonathan Taylor is back. But I'd be surprised if Houston doesn't get it done. But if they don't, it will, again, to me, if Houston loses today, you could start to see a slide where they go 2-5 in a 7-game stretch.
Colts and the Texans in Houston kick off at 1 o'clock today, as do the Titans and the Lions. The Titans shipped away DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs earlier this week. We knew it would be a rebuild, or at least we had some estimation that it would be a rebuild, Hayes Carlyon in Nashville this year. I'm not so sure people in Nashville expected the start that they've had, as well as the idea of Will Levis potentially not being the guy and the Titans having to select a quarterback once again in the upcoming NFL draft.
Yeah, they have to be one of the more disappointed fan bases in the league based on what they've seen. And, you know, now I don't think it's going to get much better for them. The Lions are going to break them into 1,000 pieces today. And,
even without Aiden Hutchinson.
I think so. I mean, I think Detroit arguably might be the best team in the league. And in looking at it, I would think it's been kind of a tough week morale-wise for Tennessee. Obviously Levis, if he plays, he's a just grisly turnover waiting to happen. And Mason Rudolph is, I mean, the definition of a journeyman player. So really tough times for the Titans, which is a real shame to see. And but they're a non-factor. I mean, to me, the only question with Tennessee is how high will the draft pick be. I mean, I don't think they're New England, Carolina awful, but I think they're absolutely in the running for the 3rd pick.
The Houston Texans sit atop the AFC South with a 5-2 record. The Colts behind them at 4-3. The Jaguars sitting at 2-5. Of course, certainly that 3rd win of the season today could go a long way. And the Titans in the basement at 1-5. Any other games from around the National Football League you'll have your eye on today, Hayes
I'm really
Carlyon?
looking forward to tonight's game. San Francisco hosting Dallas. Almost a loser leaves town match in terms of both disappointing clubs, both dealing with injuries. I think San Francisco is still going to have enough to keep Dallas reeling, but this is sort of it for the 49ers. I mean, they're at 3-4. They're starting to run out of mulligans as well. So that to me is going to be really interesting because I think it'll be a fun game, a lot of points, and but also fun just to see which of these two teams can kind of find some kind of footing, and the loser, I think, is in really bad shape.
It feels like unless your name is the Kansas City Chiefs or you play in the NFC North, your season is kind of in the balance here on this last Sunday of October. It is time for our score predictions and final thoughts for today's matchup here in Duval County between the Jaguars and the Packers. Dylan Denmark back at 1010XL World Headquarters. Pockets, who you got today?
Packers, probably about like 10 or 11. I think the Packers win comfortably.
All right. John O'Leary, engineer extraordinaire, what say you?
The Jacksonville Jaguars would find a way to be cold on the surface of the sun. 30-10.
Oh, wow.
Packers.
Okay, so you are also picking a multiple possession loss for the Jaguars. Hayes, I know you said this score could get a little wonky as well.
Yeah, I think it'll end up being fairly tight, but I like Green Bay. I like the Packers 35-28 today. I think you'll see a lot of aggressiveness on 4th down on both sides because I think both clubs are going to realize that it's going to take a lot of points today. I just think Green Bay's they've just got too much, I think, for a struggling Jaguar defense to all of a sudden find themselves in this matchup. So I think Trevor Lawrence plays well. I think Tate Bigsby plays well. I think we'll get that electric Brian Thomas highlight. But at the end of the day, I think 35-28 Green Bay.
Is there a path to victory for the Jaguars that you can see?
Oh, without a doubt. I think Trevor Lawrence could get super hot today. I think he could throw for upwards of 350. Tank could go over 120. And if that happens, I think the Jaguars winning a shootout, I think is absolutely something that could happen. But to me, that's what it's going to take because I don't think the Jaguar defense is going to be able to put up much resistance, not only to Green Bay's talent, but I think a LaFleur offense that is among the best in the league schematically, and I just think that they are going to find things that are going to make things easier for Jordan Love and company to execute.
I think a shootout inevitably is going to be at play here in Jacksonville today. I am curious, though, when it comes to running the football. Look, we said it off the top of the show, Hayes. If you can control the clock, if you can limit the possessions for Green Bay, it is a lot more difficult than it sounds on paper. But for me, that is the one way that the Jaguars could have the upper hand here today. I will go Packers 28. Jaguars 24. Our thanks to Frank Frangie for joining us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Our thanks to Rob Domofsky of ESPN for joining us from Green Bay. And, of course, our friends from Brackish Vodka. And to you, our wonderful listeners here on the Superstation for joining us all over the world. This has been the Terminix Kickoff Show brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. The Publix Kickoff Show with JP Shadrick, Ryan Sexton, and friends comes up next right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. We will catch you later.